Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of a custom miadidas pair of Adidas X15.1s in the new exclusive to miadidas Menace pack graphic, which looks very unique, a lot different from a standard pair of X15.1s. This just launched today, so if you do want to check out the miadidas customization service and just play around with it a little bit, it'll be the very first link down below the description of this video, so go ahead and check that out. It'll take you directly to the miadidas customization page. But for those that don't know what this service is all about, miadidas is a customization service that essentially allows you to pick the colors on a pair of shoes. In this particular situation, we are of course talking about the X15.1. Now of course, with any customization service, it does come at a premium price. Normally the X15.1 in a regular release colorway retails for $220, where for an extra 20 bucks, so $240 US, you can customize and choose all of the colors yourself, which is not a bad deal. For an extra 20 bucks, you're getting exactly the look that you want from your shoes because you're picking all the colors yourself. Of course, with any customization service, they are made to order. So when you do place your order, they're not going to arrive within the same week. There's generally a 4 to 6 week wait period for any custom shoe from miadidas. Generally takes within that kind of estimated time period, never longer. I have these today because I actually worked with Adidas in advance of this Menace pack launch to have them right at the launch. So like I said, if you do order a pair, it generally does take 4 to 6 weeks for your shoes to arrive. And when they do arrive, you'll have exactly what you designed in the customizer. So in this video, we are of course going to take a closer look at this Menace pack graphic that is very interesting and just take a look at the quality of this miadidas product in general. So if you are interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the entire video. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. All right, so here is a look at the box that they come in. Obviously a standard black and white Adidas box. Inside, they do not come with a string bag for whatever reason, but because I went with the soft ground variation, you get a couple of extras you wouldn't normally get. The first is this stud wrench with the Adidas branding, as you guys can see. Given that this is the soft ground variation, it does have screw-in removable studs, where this will definitely come in handy. And then they include this little bag right here. Pretty cool little bag. It's got the Adidas football branding as well as the 3 stripes. Pull open this tab, and on the inside, you're going to see that it comes with an extra set of screw-in plastic studs, which we'll take a closer look at a little bit later in the video because it's kind of an interesting little extra. And of course, other than that, all you're going to find inside the box are the shoes themselves. So now that you see what they come with, let's take a closer look at the shoes. So to start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway, as well as kind of let myself explain the choices that I made to come to this final design. Now, of course, this is the miadidas Menace pack variation, so it features a completely different graphic than what we've seen on any previous X15.1 colorway. It has what I would describe as kind of like a firework explosion type of graphic, where you can see it starts off kind of right here in the middle of the tongue and then explodes out in all directions from there, where the graphic kind of gets heavier and heavier towards the edges of the shoe. Gives it a very unique look and kind of hides the more traditional design that we've seen on pretty much every colorway of the X15.1 thus far. It hides that chaos graphic you find in the X frame of the shoe on both the lateral and medial side. So I went with a royal blue base, and there's tons and tons of colors to choose from. And then of course you get to pick your chaos graphic, which I believe there's 7 or 8 different choices of 2 color combos. The color combos are preset, which is a little bit of a bummer. So I ended up choosing the solar yellow and black combination just because I thought it looked pretty good against that blue background. And the end result is a shoe that looks very, very unique. I know not everybody's going to love this Menace graphic, but again, if you're looking for something that's going to stand out and just look different from everything else out there on the field, this graphic is definitely going to do that for you. And again, you can mix and match colors however you'd like to. Now, I went with black laces, as you guys can see. Like I said, it does kind of cover up and eliminate the option of choosing the colors here within the actual X-frame and chaos graphic on the lateral and medial side of the shoe. So that is all solid royal blue in color. Kind of hides the little lip around the edge of the upper as well. That would normally be a different color or more of a contrasting color, I guess. And then of course I went with a black color in the Tech Fit collar area, which again, you have lots and lots of colors to choose from. I went with the embroidered customization. It says SR4U obviously, and that is metallic silver, along with the metallic silver in the Adidas branding on the heel, which I thought looked pretty cool. Moving on to the sole plate. The sole plate has 4 different color options: black, white, red, or blue. I ended up going with black just because I thought it would match the laces as well as the Tech Fit collar a little bit better. I just thought it looked pretty cool. And then of course you can see it does maintain the blue kind of peeking through the cracks of the sole plate, which looks a little bit different than all the X15.1s I showed on my channel, because this is not a firm ground variation, this is the soft ground variation. So being that it's soft ground, the sole plate has to be a little bit thicker to kind of support the longer soft ground studs. So for that reason, like I said, it doesn't have the cutouts running through the forefoot that you would normally see. And of course, 6 of the studs are replaced with screw-in metal studs as opposed to molded plastic ones, which are still in their regular places at the base of the forefoot as well as the front portion of the heel. And then of course they include the plastic screw-in studs, which I have right here, which we'll talk about in just a second. But that is pretty much it in terms of the options that you have within the Menace Pack miadidas variation. There are less options if you go with this Menace variation, but honestly, if you pick this graphic, you don't need to do a lot to the shoe to make it stand out or make it look unique. So go ahead, play around with the miadidas customizer. Let me know of any designs that you come up with that you think look pretty good, and let me know your thoughts on my colorway. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the performance of the soft ground X15.1. In regards to performance, despite looking a little bit different, this is still a standard pair of X15.1s, of course in the synthetic upper variation, which is the only version of the shoe available through the miadidas customization service. So you are getting that thin X-Skin synthetic upper, which is a thin synthetic material that's soft, flexible, feels very natural against your foot. It has a padded liner that not only feels very comfortable, but one that ultimately does impact the touch a little bit, in that you're getting that barefoot feel for the ball, but with a slight amount of padding that's kind of an unusual characteristic for this style of shoe. You're also going to find on the very surface of the upper the non-stop grip dots, which are supposed to add better grip on the ball in wet weather playing conditions. That's something that is pretty debatable in terms of actual performance benefits, but it's not something that really bothers or hindered my experience with the shoe in any way at all. So I can't really complain about it or praise it in any specific way. It's just something that's there, if that makes any sense. You're also going to find that this shoe does feature the X-frame system. While it isn't completely visible like you would normally see on a regular colorway of the X15.1, it's kind of covered up by this Menace graphic, but it is still in fact there. It's an extra layer of firmer material that's fused on top, very, very thin, so it adds pretty much no extra bulk to the shoe, but it really does help to reinforce the midfoot area on both the lateral and medial side, as well as bordering the edge of the toe box and forefoot, kind of in the high wear zones of the shoe, not only to increase durability, but also to add stiffness and structure to those areas of the shoe. So when you are making those quick cuts and changes of direction, the upper's not flopping around or stretching on you. It's giving you that nice locked in responsive sensation. It does have a central lacing system, as you guys can see. The heel area does have an internal plastic heel counter. You do of course have this unique element that is their Tech Fit collar. A lot of people compare this to the mid-cut models from Nike. It's really not like that at all. And the Tech Fit collar in general doesn't really impact the feel of the shoe much at all, especially once you get used to them. It's an elasticated neoprene material. Like I said, it's still kind of a low-cut design. It extends a little bit further, I suppose, but again, not something that you're really going to notice while wearing them. And it only extends to right about here on the shoe, so it's not like it continues throughout the entire upper. It's just something that affects the opening, makes it a little bit different when taking them off and putting them on. But like I said, it doesn't really impact the overall feel in any major way. What it does impact though, because of this elasticated neoprene material that continues into the heel liner, it's a little bit slick against your sock. So you will find, depending on how well these things fit you, that your heel may slip a little bit. Not anything too significantly, but if you don't like tying your shoes tight, probably not the best option for you, because you really have to make sure they're nice and tight at the top of the shoe in order to keep your heel locked in place securely and prevent any kind of major heel slippage. I did experience some heel slippage with the X15.1. That kind of went away. It's kind of something that you just got used to a little bit. I know some people are wearing these, don't experience any heel slippage at all, so it's kind of hit or miss depending on how they fit you. But just keep in mind, if heel slippage is something that really bothers you in a pair of soccer shoes, maybe the X15.1 is one of those shoes that you try on prior to making your purchase. With that being said, The rest of the inside of the shoe is pretty straightforward. It features a removable insole, mesh liner on top. It's just a single layer of this black foam with a pattern that's exclusive to the X15.1. Pretty much the same as all the other Adidas insoles with a slightly different pattern in the foam, but doesn't feel different at the end of the day. It does get the job done though. And then of course you have the sole plate and stud pattern, this being the soft ground variation, which I have not featured on the channel before. So just to give you guys a side-by-side comparison, here is a standard firm ground X15.1, and here is of course the soft ground model. So if I back it up a little bit, you can see them both on camera at the same time. You can see that the firm ground variation does have cutouts pretty much throughout the entire sole plate. It still has the plastic plate at the base and then the stud plate on top. Whereas you have the same layout here on the soft ground variation, but because you have these longer soft ground studs that are require screw-in points and are also going to put more stress on the edges of the shoe, this plastic itself has to be a little bit thicker, which is why you don't see the cutouts. It's there for structure reasons, and you can see they added even more plastic material as support frame pieces running in between the front studs as well as the rear studs, which is not an uncommon practice for any soft ground shoe. So you can see that you do have the standard molded studs at the base of the heel as well as the base of the forefoot, exactly the same length as what you would find on the firm ground AG variation. And then of course you have the 6 screw-in points where there are metal studs in the forefoot, 4 of those, and then 2 at the very back of the heel. So this is designed for soft, natural grass types of environments, or fields I should say, where the field is generally very soft, very muddy, very wet, where a standard firm ground shoe like what I have right here, the studs wouldn't be long enough, they wouldn't be aggressive enough, and you would slip because of that. So that's where something like this would come into play. But what's kind of interesting is they include an extra set of slightly shorter plastic studs that are pretty much exactly the same as what we used to see from the Tune-It models, which is what I have right here. You can see the Tune-It shoes do have these kind of softer rubberized plastic tips plastic screw-in studs, minus of course the little plastic base, which you obviously don't get here on the X15.1, but it's the same general shape of stud. It has actually the same kind of type of wrench as well, which is kind of unusual, but they're kind of implying here that you can use this on firm natural grass, something I wouldn't normally recommend you do with a pair of soft ground shoes, but I suppose if you wanted to buy these to use on soft ground and you really wanted to use them on firm ground as well, Adidas is kind of indirectly saying that you can with these screw-in plastic studs. So if you want to give that a go, go for it. I personally still wouldn't recommend it. It was an issue here on the Tune-It system because the firm ground stud and just harder ground in general with these screw-in points, it's very high wear on those particular areas of the shoe. And because they're actually screwed in, what you'll find is that over time, not necessarily right away, but over time, wearing a soft ground shoe or any kind of screw-in stud on harder ground will actually eat away at the threading on the shoe and eventually strip it, which makes it that you're kind of out of luck if you actually do strip the inside, because you won't be able to screw in studs anymore. So again, if you do plan on using the soft ground variation of the X15.1 with the plastic studs, I would recommend making sure that the ground is still slightly soft as opposed to being very, very hard. And as you guys can see side by side, there isn't a big difference in length between the soft ground and the plastic studs that they've included with the shoes, one being metal and of course one being plastic. They're very, very similar in length, so I'm kind of interested to know why they would even include these in the first place, but they did, and I'm letting you guys know about it. So that is pretty much it in terms of the performance characteristics of the soft ground X15.1, and move on next to a quick weigh-in so you can see how lightweight these guys are. In terms of weight, there's a significant difference between the soft ground and firm ground variation of the X15.1. Now keep in mind that the weight has nothing to do with the graphic printed on the shoe, it has everything to do with the sole plate and stud pattern. So I'm going to weigh both shoes for you today in real time. Keep in mind they are both in brand new condition and both the exact same size 9 US, so this is a very fair comparison. We'll start off with the firm ground variation, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 8 ounces exactly, the equivalent of 227 grams. So change the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the soft ground variation, and you can see that they weigh in at significantly more, 10.05 ounces, the equivalent of 285 grams, essentially 2 full ounces more than the firm ground variation. Is this a noticeable amount of weight? Absolutely. Will you find a difference in feel? Yes, you will. The sole plate definitely does feel a little bit stiffer on the soft ground version because it has to be in order to suit the screw-in metal studs. So again, if you're planning on buying a pair of these shoes and you need to use them on soft ground, really the weight shouldn't be the deciding factor because this is going to ultimately perform the best when it comes to traction. But if you're looking for a particularly lightweight variation of a soft ground shoe, maybe the X15.1 isn't the best option. All right, so here is a look at the X15.1s on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock black laces that came with the shoes. And on my right foot, I have a pair of black with neon yellow dots SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You can find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in regards to how these things fit and feel, they feel for the most part like a standard pair of X15.1s. Obviously, in comparison to the firm ground version, the sole plate is a little bit stiffer, like I mentioned, just because it's a slightly thicker plastic material in order to kind of be well reinforced enough to support these longer screw-in metal studs. But like I said, for the most part, you're not going to notice a huge difference in terms of how they fit and feel on feet, although they do weigh 2 ounces more, like I just mentioned, so that is somewhat noticeable. In regards to break-in time, the synthetic material is thin, but it does have that padded liner, and it's relatively flexible as well, so it's really just a matter of getting used to how these things feel, as opposed to actually breaking anything in. Pretty snug through the midfoot because of that X-cage system, and like I mentioned earlier, the heel can be a little bit slippery in terms of lockdown, so that is something to keep in mind if you were planning on picking up a pair of X15.1s. For the most part, I find these things to be pretty comfortable from the get-go. As far as width is concerned, it is a tighter fitting shoe, so if you do have really wide feet, probably not the best option for you, and they really don't stretch all that much either. So for the most part, the way they fit from right out of the box is the way they fit for their entire lifespan. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Menace Pack miadidas X15.1. Again, if you guys are interested in playing around with the customizer yourself, it will be linked down below in the description of this video. And if you check out the review page on my website, which is also linked down below, you'll be able to see the high quality images of this exact pair that I took myself. That'll give you a better idea as to how these things actually do look in person. So you can go ahead and check that out. Again, both links will be down below in the description. If you have any questions at all, leave them down below in the comment section, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.